Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Biggie546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so I wanted this video to be a pretty fair evaluation of Joe Judge to this point. I've already made a video saying that Joe Judge should probably go as coach of the New York Giants. But I wasn't as detailed as I would like, and I kind of didn't really have my ideas nailed down. Also, I've seen a lot of people just pretty much try to assassinate the guy's character. I don't think he's the coach for us right now. I do think that he could possibly be a better coach in the future, maybe on another team. But I don't think that he's a bad person. The assassination on Joe Judge's character is ridiculous to me. You got people calling him a liar when they have no facts to back up what they're saying. It's just really strange to me how the media not only wants to evaluate how Joe Judge is doing his job, but they also want to assassinate his integrity, which is ridiculous to me. So first, I want to kind of just go over this situation that happened this past Sunday. Pretty much, the media asked Joe Judge, and he pretty much goes off on a rant and talks about how you don't see golf clubs beside lockers. You don't see people mailing it in and not trying. He said there's been times where he felt like he was going to lose his job and he was proud of the team. And the media tried to spin it around and make it seem like he was making those things up. Meanwhile, it was well reported that Golden Tate had golf clubs beside his locker. It was also well reported that, well, it wasn't well reported, but this past summer, before this season even started, when Joe Judge was getting all the praise in the world from the media, and he was on I forgot the name of the podcast, but it's Sean McVay and Peter Schrager over at NFL Network, and they had the podcast, they had Joe Judge on it, and he talked specifically about the special teams being bad for multiple weeks in a row, the Patriots losing multiple games in a row, and Belichick saying if nothing changed, that there would probably be changes in his department. Not Bill Belichick being fired, but there probably would be changes. And Joe Judge had his back against the wall, and he was able to make the team better. So for the media to go and call him a liar is just going too far for me, because you're trying to assassinate the man's character, and you're making it more than football. It's about football. It's not about anything else rather than that. Moving on, I want to go over some of the things I wrote down about when Joe Judge first got hired. And I wrote these down because I was kind of trying to figure out what you mark down as a good coach. And I think Joe Judge has a lot of these qualities. But one thing that I think he's missing out on, I'll go over a couple of them. X's and O's is one that's huge. I'll read through some of them. Empathy, leadership, X's and O's. Ability to establish a culture. Come with the goal, transparency, keep your word. Not blaming ownership or players. And then they have to believe in the why. Why do you do things? Now, this is what I wrote down. And you also have to be able to self-evaluate. Now, out of what I read here, I don't think that the X's and O's are strong enough for Joe Judge. I don't think that we've been able to put together a game plan where we strategically just out-strategize the other team. I don't think we've seen that. I do think we've seen the empathy. I do think we've seen some of the leadership. And I do think that he's established a culture. Now, the culture doesn't mean anything if you're not winning games out there on the field. The culture means nothing at that point. But I do think that he has established a culture. And if the X's and O's are right, he would be a much better coach. And then the biggest problem I have is keeping your word. He said, we're not going to ask players what they can't do. We're going to ask them what they can do. And we have not done that. Going all the way back to Golden Tate as a rookie, and not as a rookie, but going back to Golden Tate last year, where he basically threw Golden Tate under the bus, which is not blaming ownership or players. I don't know if you want to blame him, but he did throw Golden Tate under the bus by talking about the golf clubs beside his locker. But anyway, last year, Golden Tate Golden Tate is a yak guy, and he's out of the league this year, so it's not like he's a superstar. Golden Tate was a yak guy. We did not put Golden Tate in yak situations. Dion Lewis was on the team last year, and Joe Judge should know how good Dion Lewis is catching the football. We did not throw the ball to Dion Lewis much at all. Those are just two situations right there, and people can say, but Jason Garrett doesn't know how to use the players on offense. Joe Judge is the head coach. As Urban Meyer would say, Joe Judge is the head ball coach. Everything that goes on the field is a product of Joe Judge. Now, if he's not the defensive coordinator, and he's not the offensive coordinator, and he's not the special teams coach, we pretty much have the understanding that Joe Judge has his hands in all three aspects of the team. So I have to keep him and hold him accountable for all three aspects of the team, and I will. And I have not seen players specifically on offense, and then even this year on defense, being used the wrong way. Kenny Golladay, we spend 2 days talking to him at the Giants facility, and we don't throw him contested catches. We don't target him 40 yards down the field. We don't give him any opportunity to be the same receiver that he was at that time. We just don't give him any chance to be the same receiver that he was for the Lions, and it's shown. Kadarius Toney. Now, I've heard rumors that he was having issues learning the playbook, and he's been injured every other game. So you can't really be mad at him. But it took entirely too long to get him the ball in space. Even when he came back, I don't know if he's just injured or what's going on, but he just was not being used the right way. Also, I've seen Leonard Williams, line up on the outside, and we wonder why he's not getting pressure. He's not a defensive end. He's not a 4-3 defensive end. He's a 3-4 defensive end, pretty much a defensive tackle. So you don't want Leonard Williams in that spot. Also, Jabril Peppers, before he got injured, was used the wrong way. A ton of people have been used the wrong way, just plain and simple, and that falls on the coach. The X's and O's feeding on it. I mean, and I just wrote down some more notes today. Of course, I said the pros were the culture. Player effort definitely is a plus, and I think player evaluation is a plus. And I say that because since Joe Judge has been here, I'm not one of those guys who just says Joe Judge does 100% of it, but I do think he's had input in these past two draft classes, and I'm pretty satisfied with what we've gotten. Azeez Ojulari, I don't know if he'll ever be that, reliable, day in, day out, dynamic pass rusher, but I do know that he's a guy who's on pace. I mean, he could possibly get 10 sacks this year if he has a big last game. 8.5 sacks as a rookie is no joke. That's really good for him. Also, Andrew Thomas last year, Xavier McKinney last year. Now the 3rd, 4th, 5th round is kind of leaves a little bit to be desired, but we've gotten some solid players, at least in the first couple of rounds these past two drafts, and I like it. I like Kadarius Toney as a player. We just got to get him on the field, but it seems like his ability to put his input into that GM and evaluate some of these players has been a little bit of a positive. The cons, game management, having the players ready, putting the players in the proper positions to win. I don't think that he's done that at a league average level. I think he's been horrible in that situation. Coming out of the bye week playing horrible football, I just don't think he's there as far as preparing the players for the situation. You can have all the culture, you can have all the leadership in the world, but if you cannot get the X's and O's right, everything is out of order. Also, situational judgment. Again, I will go over this a million times because I continue to see the same comments. I'm not, this is why I decided to make this video too. I'm not talking about, just plain layman things. I'm talking about specific situations. You have a 4th and 1 about 5 or 6 times this year, especially in the first half of the season, where your offense was pretty much moving the ball in between the 20s all that first half of the season, and you're in a 4th and 1, and you're on the opponent's 41-yard line or 39-yard line. You have a Pro Bowl kicker, one of the best kickers in the league. You don't kick a field goal in that 30 range, in that those 35 to 40 range, 35 to 40-yard line, and you also do not go for it on 4th and 1. We punted it way too many times with a punter that has had issues really pinning people deep. So we don't have any situational awareness as far as maybe we should trust our special teams kicker, who's a Pro Bowl guy. Maybe we should trust Daniel Jones at that point, and I've criticized Daniel Jones, but at that point in the season, he was moving the offense. Maybe we should trust Daniel Jones or Graham Gano to pick up this 1 yard or make this field goal rather than just kicking it with Riley Dixon just so you can play, you can be cute on special teams. So I definitely think that that's been a huge, huge lapse in judgment for him. That's happened a couple of times. A couple of times he's just been ultra aggressive in fourth downs on our side of the field. So it's not that you want someone to go for it on fourth down every time. You want him to go for it when it's appropriate. And I'm going to stand beside that criticism. Also, the challenges at some points, but I won't really harp on the challenges because I haven't seen too many bad challenges at the beginning of this, in the second half of this season. Now, when you look at that press conference from Sunday after the game, he was emotional. He was panicking. He pretty much laid everything out on the table. He was not talking to Giants fans. He was clearly, looks like he was pleading for his job. It looked like he was pleading for his job. And me as a person, I felt bad for him because you never want to see someone who looks like he's trying his hardest lose their job like that. You never want to see it, but I do think it's in the best interest of the organization. Joe Judge, he definitely looked like he was fighting for his life right there. So I'm not sure if that means that Mara has pretty much all but told him we need to be more competitive in these last 2 weeks or you're gone. Or if that's Joe Judge just passionate about, taking a loss and not being in a situation where he could even help the team because you got Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm there. And that's what I'll close it out with. Again, I want to be fair to the guy because I've seen so many people pretty much go to the length of attacking his character and make things up. I want to be fair to the guy. He has played with Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon for the past month of the season. Do you really want to talk about effort? Do you really want to say the team gave up and it's such a bad debacle when the problem seems to be the two quarterbacks that keep rotating in and out? Last game, first play of the game, there's a blitz. There's a blitz coming through. Mike Glennon holds onto the ball for entirely too long. On a blitz, he has no hot read. He does not throw the football. He does not anticipate that someone's coming on a blitz when everybody in the stadium can see that it's a blitz. He fumbles the football. The defense has to go out there on their own 2-yard line after having no faith in their quarterback, and they give up a touchdown. Glennon comes back out the next drive, throws an interception, and the defense is already back in the red zone, and that's 14 points right there. And then you have the kickoff. They kick the ball deep down the field, and it lands at like the 2-yard line. And Pharoh Cooper just watches the ball, doesn't catch the ball, and we're getting the ball at what, our 2-yard line? So I know people are saying Joe Judge is a special teams coach. He's supposed to have guys ready, and I agree with that. But I also believe that Joe Judge and Willis, I'm going to say Willis, I'm forgetting the guy's name, but our special teams coach, McGahee, I'm very sure that they told Pharoh Cooper, no matter what, catch the football. Now, because he didn't catch that football, we end up giving up a safety. So that's 16 points out of that 29 that we gave up that were completely preventable. And that's another thing about Joe Judge is even though I'm kind of giving him a pass for this because the quarterback play, you can't really do much with it. But the fact that this team makes so many mistakes in the most crucial situations consistently is another concern. But I just wanted to put together something that was a little bit more well thought out just to have a dialogue that I think is more fair than just attacking a guy and coming up with things and making up things that aren't true. So that's my take on it. I still think that he's not the coach for us, but I don't think that he's someone who should have his character assassinated. So you guys let me know what you're thinking of Joe Judge. Is he the guy going forward? And what are you thinking about? Do you think that his job is gone? Or do you think that he could save his job this past week? I think if John Mayer has already made that decision and it looks like his job is gone, I don't think he can save himself this last week. Because with Jake Fromm in there, I cannot see the Giants being competitive. So he did mention players fighting on the sideline, and he pretty much talked directly about the Washington football team that we're going to play this week. So we'll see how this game goes. And again, you guys let me know your opinions on Joe Judge and what you think should happen with the coaches going forward. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.